Hi, and welcome to Flashback Friday. Join me in this episode of the Radio Vagabond where I do something terrifying in Durban, South Africa. I was very nervous and out of breath when I did it, and you can hear me scream. Join me as I'm swinging in Durban. This episode was released the first time in July 2020. Welcome to Flashback Friday. And there's a part of me saying, yeah, do it, go do it. And then there's another part of me saying, nah, why should I? I don't really need to make that leap.
What was that? Well, that was me struggling. Big time. Hi, and welcome, by the way, to episode 165 of the Radio Vagabond. This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. It looks like any other hotel search site, like Hotels.com, Agoda, Expedia. You can put in different filters of what you're looking for and sort the results as you like. Where this is different is that it searches Expedia, Agoda, Hotels.com, and more than 15 other hotel search sites at the same time in one simple search. What a lot of people don't know is that the exact same room can be cheaper on one site than on the other. You just don't know which one. But Hotels25.com knows. I use it all the time, and that's one of the ways I'm able to get the best deals quickly and easily. Again, Hotels25.com.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
We start right where I left you in the latest episode, at Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, where I had just been speaking to Nkonzo, aka Dat Boy Marappa, on the top of the stadium. Safely back on the ground, I went into an office to hear more about one of their attractions. And then after that, as I walked outside, I had an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, and they were having a conversation.
Hey, why put you through that? You know you're gonna hate it.
No, you know you're gonna regret it if you don't do it.
Come on, you don't need that. Just get an Uber and have some lunch.
If you do it, you'll feel good about yourself.
Feel good?
Yeah, the big rush, the adrenaline rush.
You know what would feel good? A nice cold beer and a big juicy cheeseburger.
Hey, remember just a few days ago when you were at the bungee jump place? Didn't you just say that you regret that you didn't do it yourself?
Yeah, but you've already done the world's highest bungee jump.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what you haven't done?
No, what?
The world's highest swing.
Yeah, they were having a lively conversation, and I was struggling to make a decision. Okay, here I am. I sound calm, but trust me, I am not.
I'm back on the ground here outside Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, and I'm under a sign saying Big Rush, Urban Adrenaline. They have the world's highest swing, and you can, I think it's 88 meters above ground, and then you swing across the field. It's a free fall, and then you just swing back and forth. And there's a part of me saying, yeah, do it, go do it. And then there's another part of me saying, nah, why should I? I don't really need to make that leap. But then again, I made a rule for myself when I started my journey that if I was in doubt, say yes. Unless it's something completely stupid that would get me killed. And that rule should apply here. I don't know if I have the guts. Give me a few minutes.
When I was in that office an hour earlier, they could see that I looked scared, and I said that I needed a little bit of time to think. I actually thought that this is something that must happen to them on a daily basis. Somebody saying, let me just think about it. And I was sure they were making bets if I would come back or not. By the way, it's true about the rule I was talking about, my vagabond rule. I think it was actually on day 2 of my journey, back in July 16, I made that rule. When in doubt, do it. It's one that's given me quite a few serendipity moments on my trip, doing something that I didn't really know if I wanted or not, and then it turned out to be just amazing, and I've tried to live by that rule ever since. This was not going to be the day that I would break that rule. So, a few minutes later, my feet took me back to the office, and my mouth started saying some words. My brain had no control over my feet and my mouth anymore. They just did that.
You have a bet going if I will come back or not?
No, I saw that you'll come back.
You thought so? I didn't think so. Okay, here I am. Let's do this.
Okay. I'll book you for 1 o'clock, but you'll go now.
At this time, a big part of me still didn't understand why I was doing it. I honestly don't like heights, and here I would be stepping into a free fall 80 meters above ground.
Would you like to include jump video? It's a package of pictures plus video.
The video? Yeah.
Yes, you have to pay extra 200.
Yeah.
Would you like to pay extra for video and photos? They ask. You bet I would. I was all alone here. I had nobody with me, so I definitely needed some proof of me doing this. The Big Rush Big Swing here at Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, South Africa, has been officially named the world's tallest swing by Guinness Book of Records since May 14th, 2011. And this is not your average swing. They aptly named it the Big Swing, and it allows you to take a thrilling leap from a small bridge between parts of the iconic arch of the stadium, some 80 meters above the spectator stands, swinging out into a massive 220-meter arch where you would soar into the center of the stadium. This is not a bungee jump. There's no big rubber bungee cord this time, only a rope. One end strapped to my waist and the other tied to the highest point of the arch. So now I've booked it, I've paid for it, and was given some papers with a lot of fine legal print in a tiny font, text that it would take me hours to read, and then a dotted line after the text where my shaking signature should go. And when I'm nervous, I tend to make fun of things and ask them if this means if you die, it's not our fault.
And what am I signing that if I die, it's not your fault?
No. You won't die. Don't even mention a word. There's no dying here. No. You have to accept.
Oh, this is about when I die.
No, don't say that.
I should read all this.
No, you won't die. I'm sure of that.
I guess it was okay, so I signed the papers and moved over to the next bit of the process. This is where I get the harness on.
So can you tell me what's going on now? You're putting you're strapping me in here.
It's for your safety, as you'll be jumping off the building, off the bridge.
Why did I do this?
Harnesses.
I'm sure.
This is you're gonna be attached to the webbing with this point.
So this
And
obviously
you'll be
is to
going
make
down
sure that
the
I'm
ladder.
safely attached to the rope when I do the swing, but also when I walk up the stairs to get there. It's 352 steps on the outside of the arch with a risk of falling or tumbling down or over the edge. So they also have security on that part.
So every time you are out there, you'll be attached to something for a safety.
Yeah. So this is not the day I die.
No, you're not gonna die.
You will come back alive.
Oh, I am so scared, and I feel it's gonna get worse.
Try not to think about it too much. You'll be fine.
Enough talking about dying, Palle. Come on. Not only is it really not that funny, you're also making the two other jumpers nervous. I was going up there with Eugita and Louis, a young couple from Cape Town. And we'll start to make our way to the top of the stadium to do the jump in just a moment. But
before that, let me take a short break to tell you a bit about what I'm doing when I'm not producing the Radio Vagabond, because I do have a real job. I have a production company called Radio Guru, and here I do all kinds of things related to sound production. I produce radio commercials, I do voiceovers for radio, TV, and online. I recently had a Swedish voiceover do a TV commercial for Sensodyne toothpaste, and I voiced a few Danish commercials myself. And then I do a lot of podcast production. I recently helped produce and launch a podcast about the tourism industry. I'm also working with a museum to help them launch a brand new podcast. I already told you a few times about the Travel Matters podcast that I co-host and produce for TBEX, the global gathering of travel content creators. And then I've been working very hard and long on a brand new exciting global project for Lego that I'll finally be able to tell you more about in a few weeks. All of this and so much more is something I can do remotely when I'm working as a nomad. I've been doing it for 4 years, and right now I'm busier than ever. If you'd like to know more about all the services I offer my clients, just head over to radioguru.co.uk. I'd be really happy if you put in a good word for me if you happen to know someone who can use my help and my 35 plus years of radio experience. Or hey, maybe you could use some podcasting advice. I'm always ready to share tips and advice for free, so go to radioguru.co.uk. And now we're back at Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, and with all of us strapped in, we walked around the building and started climbing the stairs. If only I was in better shape.
How many floors is it up here? What? How many floors?
Like I said, 352 steps. That's the equivalent of 25 floors in the building.
Oh my god.
And if the thought of jumping out of a window from the 25th floor doesn't make your mouth dry, the walk up there definitely will. Finally, up there, it was time for the three of us to do the jump. First, it was Louis, and I was off to the side with his girlfriend, Eugetta. We could see the terror in his face where he was about to take one small step and at the same time, a giant leap.
What are you thinking right now?
I'm horrified, but I'm excited to see my boyfriend down on the other side, so yeah.
He just did it. Did you see the look on his face as he went over?
Yeah, he looked petrified, which is what I'm going to look like.
And now it's you. Are you petrified?
I'm horrified, petrified, scared out of my world.
I was the last one, and I almost wished that I could go first, because seeing how scared the others were only made me more nervous.
Oh my.
Horrified, petrified, so scared. Okay, give me thumbs up.
First, we had to climb a little bit down again, 4 to 5 meters from where we were to the platform itself. This is on this normal vertical metal ladder.
Oh my god.
And even though I knew that we were safely secured with the harness, you can just look down and see how far it is. So the thought of that climb also scared me as I see Eugetta making her way down there.
Oh my god.
And then, when she was on the platform, they started the countdown. And at the same time, Louis was back.
How was it?
Intense, shaking a bit, yeah.
You looked terrified.
I was terrified.
Oh.
Then it was my turn. Are you ready to go? A guy asked me.
Are you ready to go? No. What's your name? Helle. Helle? Yeah. Can you stand here for me, please? Perfect. Step down. Another one.
I handed over my phone to a girl from the staff shooting videos and taking photos. And I left my microphone on the side as well. First they asked me to say a few words to the camera. It's a few meters away and it's windy up there, so it's a bit hard to hear.
I have no idea why I'm here. This is... this second, I feel it's a big mistake. I feel different in a little while,
But basically, I'm saying the same thing I've been saying over and over again for an hour. I don't know why I'm doing this. I feel it's a big mistake and blah, 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 blah. And then I started climbing down the stairs with them filming. Halfway down, they shout to me, "Hey, look up and smile." And I managed to do so, smiling to the camera. That's my thing. By the way, you can see all this in the video I put on the RadioVagabond.com. And then slowly made my way out to the middle of this very narrow bridge. It's less than a meter wide, and even though there's a railing on one side, and I'm strapped on, I still feel I could fall down and die any second. Oops, I said the D word again. As I was getting close, Eugetta was back in the safe area, where my microphone was still recording.
Okay, I'm back to safe area. I did not want to jump. Oh, wait.
And then, 3, 2, 1.
Can start coming up?
When I finally came down again, I was told that there was a woman at the spectator stands who could see me swinging and hear me screaming over the stadium. And she was standing with someone from the staff and then says, "Oh, that's the guy." And the woman said, "What do you mean, guy? Was that a guy? He screamed like a girl." Again, have a look at the video on the RadioVagabond.com and let me know what you think. That's almost it for this episode. In a few minutes, I'll wrap up my day in Durban, a bit about what I did after my visit to the stadium, and share my plans for the next few days. That was when all was good, because the next day turned out to be nothing like I expected, and plans were changed drastically. That's coming up in the next episode. Well, I actually thought about putting that in this episode, but then it would be a longer episode than usual. So instead, this one will be a little bit shorter. But since we have some extra time, I've decided to fulfill a request I've had a few times. Here's one of the emails about that. This one is from Andrea from Brisbane, Australia. "Hi, Palle. I've heard you playing a little bit of a song where they sing something like Living the Good Life. Would you mind playing the full song at some point? I really like it and it always makes me smile. Keep up the good work. Andrea." Well, here it is, Andrea. It's a singer-songwriter called Steve Cullum. And the song is, like you guessed, Living the Good Life.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
And I can take anything you can throw at me, and nothing can get me down. Life is looking so bright, the sun is up again. I'm feeling like I could fly. No clouds in my way, no. And I'm living the good life. And I'm living the good life now. I'm living the good life. And nothing can get me down, no. Lifted up on your shoulders, I can see the whole world. There's nothing that I cannot do, no. You and me together, we got this thing down, and nothing we cannot do. No clouds in our way, no. And I'm living the good life. I'm living the good life now. I'm living the good life. Whoa, I'm living the good life. Whoa, I'm living the good life now. Whoa, I'm living the good life, and nothing can get me down. Whoa, I'm living the good life. Whoa, I'm living the good life now. Whoa, I'm living the good life, and nothing can get me down. No, no, nothing can get me down. No, nothing can get me down.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. Whenever you need a hotel, go to Hotels25.com. That would get you the best price. Hotels25.com searches a bunch of the biggest hotel sites in one simple search. Hotels25.com.
It was a great day in Durban. After I did the swing, which was terrifying. You can watch the video on the RadioVagabond.com. I went to the Golden Mile, the beach here in Durban, and we're in the Indian Ocean, so a lot of people were swimming. The water is warmer here than it is on the Atlantic side in Cape Town, so here you can actually swim. The waves were big. There was a sign saying absolutely no swimming here, and I think 100 people were swimming. So that was kind of funny. Then I went for a nice lunch and back to the hostel. So I had a great day in Durban, and tomorrow I'm getting back on the road. I'm going to be leaving South Africa for a short while. I'm going to the small kingdom of Lesotho, and I'm so looking forward to that. My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.